Hi, hello, and welcome to Life Off Script. My name is Yaz, and I am back on the big screen, back at it again for 2026, which will be the tech, mm, second year of Life Off Script, which is so exciting. And well, second year in February, but whatever. And I am so excited to be with you guys. I have gotten a new laptop because my old laptop went kaput. But it lasted pretty good. It was like 9 years. So with that comes an actual camera. You're telling me we've got video now. Let's go. I feel a bit awkward filming this, but I am excited to get stuck into this. I feel like 2026 is our year. It feels really warm and welcoming. I feel like 2025 was just like abrasive and blunt, and lots was happening, and I feel like there was just no control over any of it. Genuinely a spiral. And I know it was a really good year for a lot of you guys, so like love that for you. For me, it had its ups and downs, and it gave me a lot of lessons though, which I'm kind of taking into the new year. One particular one would be I hated my job the whole time, and I'm excited to see what new job I can get this year that won't make me want it myself. And things like that. Love life was interesting for the first two-thirds of the year and exciting for the last third of the year. What? That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, so I have decided to do an ins and outs for 2026. I kind of wanted to go over what I do every year that makes me feel really good about the year, regardless of whether, like, if I look back on it now and I'm like, oh, God, that year was tough, what I accomplished and what goals I want to bring forward. So for me, back in Australia, I actually have a jar full of goals that I've written down from when I was 15. And a lot of those goals are still there because I have not reached them. And that's because they're long-term goals. So for me, I have a jar where I have goals that kind of are ones that I don't actively think about day to day. I'm not like, oh, I need to lose weight. Like, not those ones, like, not fitness ones, not anything like that. It's more to do with things that I'm like, okay, down the track, I can see myself advancing my skills in something like new languages. So, like, advancing my skills in Swiss German would be one of my ones, but that's not something that I'm prioritizing right now. But it's something that's like subconsciously I'm pushing towards. It's just that like I haven't reached a time where it works for me right now. Does that make sense? So like one of my goals, which is obviously like not going to happen anytime soon now that Liam Payne has unfortunately passed away. But one of them was to meet One Direction, which, I mean, would it still count since they've broken up and one has unfortunately passed? I don't know. But that's a goal that I'm leaving there. You know why? Because maybe in the future, there'll be a time where they can bring back a holographic version of Liam, or they have science to bring back the dead. And with that, my goal will remain there until such time. And I feel like, honestly, with the way tech is developing, you just don't know. That could definitely happen. I'm not putting it on off the table for sure. So I have these sort of goals that like live subconsciously in my mind, like things that I've always wanted to do. For instance, advance my snowboarding skills. Again, not something that I'm like doing and thinking about and like wanting to like master in a year. It's more like I want to master it in my years, but it's not completely priority. It's just like if I can get around to it and I can subconsciously push towards that, then that's great. So that's something that I've had for since I was like 18, that goal. And last year I went to Val d'Isere with like a bunch of girls and did a snowboarding trip, and I advanced my skills, which was one of my long-term goals. So for that to happen was really fun because it felt like accomplishment without feeling like pressure. Like I've never, like, I've had that since I was 18. So what, 10 years. And I feel like I like advanced those skills like right on time. Does that make sense? So I do that, which is just like long-term goals, usually keep them. I have no pressure to complete them and no pressure to get rid of them. They're kind of there as like nice to haves. And then I also write accomplishment list of everything that I did in the past year. Now, this accomplishment list, there's no criteria to it. There's no, or it has to be a certain milestone. It has to be a certain, like, you know, something big that like most people wouldn't have done. No. In fact, it's the little things that matter. For instance, one of them was learn to not have to have my nails done all the time. Got a haircut that made my face look nice. Start getting nice skincare, and this cycle with this guy that I was seeing. You look at it like, what did it bring me? And the ending of it allowed me to move forward and not hold on to this like negative energy that was around it, and have a good rest of the year. So it's those sort of things that I feel like most people would be like, oh, whatever, like, you know, and move past it. But for me, the way I go about it is to make sure that I really, really appreciate the little things that I've done this year and what I've learned and the challenges I've faced and how I've overcome them, because it makes me feel like maybe this year was slow, maybe this year was fast, maybe this year was really tough and difficult, and, you know, I felt like it was never ending. However, what have I learned from this then? What have I gotten through? And it's just nice to like write it all down and be like, wow, actually, I did deal with all of that this year. Like, that is a long year of shit. It's just nice to know that you've like overcome a lot. So yeah, that's my kind of advice on that. I do that every year, and it makes me feel really good about every year, no matter if the year hasn't been as nice as others in the past, whatever. And so then I've got my resolutions for 2026. Resolutions for me always have to be really achievable. Otherwise I'll just be like, not happening. Too hard basket. If it's in the too hard basket, then that's the nice to have, and that should be in my jar of like long-term goals, because it's not happening anytime soon. So some of them, like one of them is really nothing special, but it's just to get better at baking, because I'm decent at cooking. But for me, I'm not a baker. I just don't gravitate towards making muffins. If I'm making anything, it'll be like actual meals rather than sweets. But I know that I want to be in a position where I can just bake anything on the fly, or like think of good things to make, or like have some sweets that I can just like make up in 2 seconds. And that's such a fun way of, you know, bringing them to work or bringing them to your friends, etc., etc. But for me, when I think about baking right now, I can't deal with the scientific measurements of everything. For me, when I cook, I guess pretty much everything, unless it's like measurements have to be to a T. So for me, that is something that I have to get past. Enough said. I wanted to get into my ins and outs for 2026. Okay, first one on my list, house parties. House parties are totally in. Obviously, we're seeing a bit of a recession in terms of people having financial like wealth. Like, we are struggling low key. But what that means is that we're kind of tipping back to early 2000s messy house parties. So the thing with house parties is that you save money, you make friends with random people, you don't get kicked out, you don't have to find a table early on. You're there, you're there. You can smoke outside if you want to. You can also speak to everyone inside. There's no bouncer there. You can play whatever music you want. And if you really want to go out afterwards, you totally can. You're not spending, and especially in London, where double G&Ts, in my mind, I'm paying about 14 quid. That's like what, nearly 30 Australian dollars for a drink. It is good, but it's not 30 Australian dollars worth, I would say. So buying your drinks, bringing them, you can make cocktails at the house party. You have really good D&Ms with people. You meet new people. Like, it is just, there is a vibe to it. And when you're at a good house party, you're at a fucking good house party. I feel like bring those back. I'm sick of, that sounds bad, because I do love going out and I do love going to like wine bars and just bars in general and clubs and whatever. Like, I love all of that. But in a time of like financial limitations, let's do house parties. I have been to a number of house parties lately, and my God, the vibe is just like so much better. It's so fun. I meet so many new people. Genuinely, it's unmatched. Number 2, career pivots. This is more to myself right now, because I'm slowly thinking about what career I want to do and what I'm finding myself gravitating towards and what I am liking and not liking at this ripe age of 28. I have been dealing with a bit of a career crisis for the better part of 2 years, mainly because being in London has made me realize that there's a lot more options to what I want to do than I've realized before. And I think that's something that, like, for me, I just didn't expect that. And I also think at this age, and a lot of my friends have been dealing with this as well, which is the career pivot, like having to really recognize, like, is this the right career for me? Like, I chose this when I was like 18. Is that what we want to do? And obviously you change a lot as a person over the years. So for me, I actually wanted to get into radio when I was younger. I did work experience at a radio station in Melbourne. I feel like I've mentioned this before, but anyway, it went really great. I really loved it, but I thought it was too hard to get into, and so I did law instead. I can't imagine how I thought law would be easier than going into radio, but nevertheless, I really enjoyed my radio experience, and that's partially why I love doing this podcast, is because it's just very similar. Like, I would love to get into radio, but that's something that I never even considered when I was in law school, and afterwards I really wanted to stick down the legal path, and I feel like I still do. Like, it's like that fig analogy from The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. It's just, there's so many options of what you can pursue. Hang on, let me just read the fig tree analogy so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children. And another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Attilia, and a pack of other lovers with queer names and offbeat professions. And another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above those figs were many, many more figs. I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet. It's a heavy quote. But it makes you think, right? So, and this is with careers. Like, I think about my career, I think about what life path I can choose. I can go down the path of the legal profession. I can go down the path of governance and policy. I can go down radio. I can go down, I don't know, other other options. And it makes me worry because I think if I choose one, I lose the other. But I don't. I don't think I do, though. I think about like the people I know who pivoted at 50 years old, at 60 years old. I remember that at law school there was a guy who was probably 60 to 70 who was getting a law degree. And you know what? Good on him. Good on him, right? Sometimes what we've chosen is just good for the time, but maybe not for the rest of the future. And that's, yeah, I'm still coming to terms with that. But the in for that is that career pivots are completely okay and completely normal, and they happen at any time. And you need to figure out whether it's something worth pursuing, as in it's something worth to pivot to. If it makes you happy, if you can see a way where you can work at it and get to a point with it, why not? Life is short. Life is also long. Like, you could choose a zillion different career paths in your lifetime. I personally don't know what I'm going to do, so that's something I need to figure out. And I don't know when that'll be figured out. I imagine it'll take me a few years. But in the meantime, enjoy the process. I'm figuring out what I like and what I don't like, and what I can see myself doing. And I know some people find that scary, and I agree it can be scary, but equally it can be really exciting to have this untapped area where your life could go in this completely different direction, and what that would lead to opportunity-wise. So that is an in for me. Wow, long-winded, Yaz. Third one. Bring back making lists when you are in a certain chapter of your life. I have been doing that for the past year. And for me specifically, I love curating playlists. So again, this is my own personal in. But playlists are so fun. It's like a perfume, right? Like, you spray a perfume, it reminds you of a certain time. When I listen to a certain playlist, it reminds me of a certain time in my life. And so with that, like, yes, you can rely on your Wrapped, but at the end of the day, does my Wrapped know that I was having the time of my life listening to 3 songs on repeat in July? No, it doesn't know that. And it doesn't know why. And I just feel like playlists are like a fun way of having snapshots of times in your life and what you were listening to and why that made you so happy or made you sad or made you angry or etc. etc. Outs for 2026. Number 1, cutting people out of your life because they're a loser. The idea that you hold on to energy or are collateral. So let me explain. If you are like, haha, I'm having the time of my life, I am seeing XYZ, let's call him Harry. I'm seeing Harry and he's a bit of a loser. He doesn't treat me right, but we have fun together. Just by association, you have now picked up energy that is from a loser. And you have become somewhat of a loser. This is something I've learned in the past year, is that I was becoming a bit of a loser. And I wasn't really seeing it for the first, few months. But then I was slowly realizing the more association you have with losers, the more you become one yourself. Similar, like if you hang around with great people that are very kind, caring, ambitious, thoughtful, funny, etc., you become that too, because the energy they give off rubs off on you. You know what I mean? So when you see a loser, even if it's for jokes, even if it's like, every once in a while, you start to become a loser yourself. Whether you want to admit that or not, up to you. But it is something that you should consider. And that's a out for 2026. Consider cutting off that loser energy in your life. I think it'll make you feel better. Another out for 2026, number 2, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my worst nightmare in the corporate world. I think that was the start of the end of the world for me. When reading people's posts where it's a brag and then they just make it into like a life lesson, and you know what? The people that don't have LinkedIn, you have gone unscathed. You are lucky. You are one of the lucky ones, okay? Play The Lucky One by Taylor Swift. Genuinely, the fact that you have not experienced the evil energy that comes from LinkedIn, congratulations. I just want to say it. Congratulations, because it is horrific. And I feel for the people that have to use LinkedIn as like one of their major or main work tasks, like marketing and recruiters, because you guys are using a soul-sucking platform. Number 3, outs for 2026. I have been getting increasingly irate with Uber Eats and Deliveroo. The reason is you pay for Uber One or you don't pay for Uber One, whatever. Doesn't really matter at this point, but you get a service fee, a delivery fee. I don't even know what else is an app fee to buy a sandwich from a sandwich shop. And you know what? I'm slowly becoming a person that is realizing that, does the convenience outweigh the money paid for something that I can really go down the street and get myself? And the answer is no. I have realized that unless it's, I've gone out all night and I need to get something at 3 a.m. and the only thing open is Macca's and it's 2K down the road. Okay, fine. I'll get Uber Eats. But you know what? Uber Eats, you've pissed me off too much. I am struggling with money, as is everyone else in the world besides the billionaires and the millionaires. And what do you guys give me? A 50-minute delivery time, unless I want to pay an extra £4 for priority, which I don't even know if you guys know what priority is. And a delivery driver that then has to deliver another order. So then by the time you get your order, it's cold. You've paid probably £7 to £15 more than you should have paid for that sort of meal. And you've realized, if someone gave me cash, someone gave me £15 right now to go down to the shops and purchase it myself, would it be worth it to me? And the answer is, you could pay me £5 and I would do it. So what am I paying the extra £10 for? If I could just get change so quickly, walk down, grab the food, let's bring it back to pre Uber Eats, because you know what? I'm getting lazier and I'm getting more irate at the money I'm giving these corporations who are upping the price massively because they know they have a monopoly on the market. Fuck that. So, my ideal situation, Uber Eats and Deliveroo, you're out. Okay, I feel like I have talked out of my ass for 30 minutes, it says on my recording. But I hope you liked this. I feel like it's nice to have a bit of a video where you can see my facial expressions because sometimes they don't really come across when I do it audio. So this is kind of what's going to happen going forward. My background, I'm currently in my kitchen. My background is a painting. Sorry, not a painting, a print from Bel Perez. Thank you, Bel Perez. And then I have a random stocking to the left of me, which is great. Very festive, very of the time, obviously. We're definitely still in the Christmas period. My ins and outs, I've just given you. And I have some ones that are going to continue to be in from my 2025 ins and outs. So, in one of my 2025 ins was putting cinnamon in my coffee. Now, I have done that for a year straight, and it's meant to give you abundance, basically. If you swirl it right, so clockwise gives abundance, anti-clockwise is the idea that it lets go of something that's negative in your life. I have been doing that for the whole year, and could be a placebo effect. Could be. Cinnamon's still good for you regardless. My coffee tastes amazing. My home coffee tastes incredible. And it's because I heat up the milk, I put the cinnamon in, I let the cinnamon melt into the milk, and then I make my coffee. Anyway, this is my podcast episode, my first one for 2026. Hope you liked it. I, as always, love the feedback, guys, and love all the new followers that I've been getting lately. Thank you for listening to Laugh Off Script. Thank you for watching Laugh Off Script. Hey. And you can find me on Instagram or TikTok and or YouTube and all streaming platforms. That's me done. Okay. Bye, guys.